here, Uganda University. Thank you. Kampala University. Bishop Stewart. All right. Now, if you knew where we started from, you would know how some of us are feeling by that. I'm going to take you through a journey of how my involvement with the Uganda Counselling Association and what we thought we were doing and what we think we should be doing. You know that every profession builds on the failures and successes of the previous generation. So you are going to build on the successes and failures that we did in order for you to go forward. So don't say, why did they do this? It's your turn to collect the errors we made and the different issues we went through. So, and Adrian was asking me why would you come with a written presentation, and I couldn't do that because I want to take on a personal story. 30 years ago, 31 years to be specific, I joined ITEC then, which is Kyambogo University now, as an assistant lecturer. I finished my Bachelor of Science in Psychology in Makerere. I had done a postgraduate diploma in education again from Makerere, and then I was employed as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Psychology then of ITEC. At that time, in Uganda, I was a young person, I was asking myself, which branch of psychology do I get into? And then in the country, at the time, those of you might remember, this was the peak of HIV. And so there were so many people coming up, 2 weeks, 3 days, and then they were called counselors. They were responding to an emergency the best way they knew how to. So we had people like TASO, we had the AIDS Information Center, we had different organizations, some of them are not in existence. And so they would take someone, train them in a week, and then release them out as counselors. Basically what they were giving them was a template. You know, like when the client comes in, greet them. So you give them the words to greet. Next, ask them why they have come. Next, ask them if they have tested before. Next, and so they were training them on that particular template. That template is still implied in some of the HIV centers, even up to now. But that's where we came from. And then people would go out and start counseling. So, I met my colleagues then, who are 4 of us in the department. 2 of them are deceased, and 2 of us are still alive. Of course, we're joined by others along the way. And so I said, but this is not right. This is not right. People should be professionally trained to become counselors. And there isn't only one issue. It's not just HIV. HIV does not come along, it has several other issues. And remember that time, the ARV industry wasn't that much. So basically at that time, counseling meant preparing people to die. Yes, because if somebody had HIV 30 years ago, you knew they were going to. So that was the counseling that they were doing. And I felt this wasn't the right thing to do. And I was in a university. So I asked my colleagues, can't we do a course in counseling? And we looked at each other and we said, good idea, but where do we start from? As luck would have it, the Uganda Polytechnic Kyambogo, UPK, which is the same hill, now today it's called Kyambogo University. So when you go there, but you need to know that there are different institutions at some point. So they received a Peace Corps volunteer, an American young lady. And so in my chatting with her, I discovered that she was a counseling psychologist. So I engaged her, I said, now, we would want to start a course to do with counseling. So she asked me, you want to start at which level? Masters, I said, how do you master when there is no one for? So we decided that we are going to do a certificate of 6 months. And then we see what happens. So I sit with her and we develop the course. And after developing the course for 6 months, I come now with my papers to remember I'm the youngest member of the department at the time. So I come to my colleagues and I tell them, I think this is a course we should start. So they look, thank God they listened to me, because you know sometimes when you're young, sometimes you're not taken seriously. But thank God they took me seriously. When we proposed to the university then, they were all asking us, sounds nice, but what is it? And so we went through fighting with the institution to accept that program. So we start the program, we receive our first batch of students. And the students who are receiving were only accepting post-experience. Post-experience meant you had to have had the other training we're talking about. The 2 weeks of TASO, the 3 weeks of this. So we're taking people who are already in the field. And they came. I remember the first group had 37 students. So the students came. Now, there was a course called Counseling Workshop. Now, all of us were from psychology background. None of us was from a counseling background. Now, we said, how do you teach a counseling workshop course when you are not a counselor yourself? So they said, can't we find someone who can train people in counseling? So they told me, let's look around. Now, in the country at that time, now you understand why I'm excited about this. When you call it KIU, where are you? Kampala University, where are you? You don't understand where I come from. There were only 4 counselors in the entire country. 4. There was Dr. Vic Owens, whom most of us regard as the grandmother of counseling, because most of us came through, were the first pioneers of masters and then we spread to different places. There was Vic Owens in Makerere University. There was James Wanga in Makerere University Hospital. There was another lady, Geraldine Kasacha, I think. She was with the Ministry of Education. And then there was Ruth Senyumi, who was with Makerere High School. She had gone to US with her husband, had gone to do his PhD, and then she did a master's in counseling. She had just come back. And so we looked through the 3. Vic Owens wasn't available. Wanga wasn't available. Geraldine wasn't available. And the only option we had at the time was Musenyori. So they asked me, go and look for Madame Musenyori and see if we can ask her to accept to come and teach for us as a part-time. So I was reminding her recently when we met, and I walked over to Makerere High School. Makerere High School used to be below where Makerere University is. One day, you see those places where they say this other meat. You know the meat I'm talking about. And around there is a Baptist workshop. So just there, that's where Makerere High School was. So I go there. I introduce my wife of what I've been sent to do, and thank God she accepted. So she came and now started. Now, the psychology courses, human growth and development, learning, we would teach. But there were specific counseling courses that we felt needed someone who knew what they were doing, not only theoretically, but also practically. Somebody who sits with clients and knows what they are doing. So, Ruth accepts. We have our first batch of students. Now, the first batch of students say, no, you can't give us a certificate. We need a diploma. So the certificate read only twice. We upgraded it to a 1-year diploma. And we are still insisting post-experience, because in our thinking, we thought for somebody to be a counselor, they must be mature, they must have experienced some life. They should have experienced some life, so that you are speaking from such experience. Again, as I said, you will have to build on our errors in order for you to move forward. So, we go 1 year with a diploma, post-experience qualification. You show us you have had some other training and work experience. So we ran it for a 1 year. And then, the students who did a diploma said, we want a degree too. So we say, remember now we are getting better at what we are doing. We are learning. And so they tell us, we need a degree. So we say, okay. Now, we write the degree program. We start passing it through the university system. And then we are still, remember we still had our thinking, they have to have had experience in life. The university Senate said, no. You must make it, you must open it, A-level leavers. And we said, but we see these people have experience. Then the Senate told us, if we can take an S6 leaver and turn him into a medical doctor and trust him with people's lives, why can't you take a senior 6 leaver and turn him into a counselor and trust her or him with people's emotions? Say, okay. So a 3-year program is written, and then it's launched. Along the way, Makere starts a master's in counseling. So now I have the opportunity to be trained as a professional counselor. So I do my 2 years with Makere University as a pioneer student for the MA counseling. And then, so now, not only do I have students, now I know what I'm supposed to be talking about. So now numbers are coming out. And then we ask ourselves, what does it take to build a profession? And we said, with the people who were there at the time, that we needed to do 3 things. 1, to encourage as many universities as possible to do that, to take up the course in counseling, so that we have a bunch of people, knowing well that not everyone who does a training in counseling becomes a counselor. Because of the career guidance we receive when we are going through school, it's not unusual for you to come for a Bachelor of Guidance and Counseling or a Bachelor of Psychology, but really you shouldn't be there. You should be elsewhere. So we knew that not all the people that you train end up doing what you train them in. So we said, what do we do? We said we needed 3 things. We need many universities to be training in counseling. And then 2, we need a professional body to advocate for counseling space. And then 4, we need regulation on the counseling practice. So we started now fighting on those different fronts. We are promoting counseling, and then the other journey we had was also whether we can train a counselor at a bachelor's level. At that time, the thinking was it should be at a master's level. And our argument was, when will you generate enough master's people to fill the need? And besides, which profession do you build from the top? Which profession do you build from the top? We have to build from below. So the bachelor's issue went through and was eventually accepted. If you speak to some of our seniors, some of them still blame me for doing that. You are the one who brought this. I said, yes, I brought it, and I still believe it was the right thing. We cannot build a profession from the top. There must be levels. Levels where you know I counsel up to this level, and then I refer to someone else, and I refer to someone else until we get to that level. So first attempt to form a counseling association. At that time, there was educational review, they were reviewing the teacher education in Uganda, and we were called to write a module on guidance and counseling for tutors. And again, it was me, Lusenyoni, Martin Omago, who used to be the Commissioner of Guidance and Counseling, he retired, and then JP Rubembe, JLP Okilia, Rubembe and Okilia are all dead, and so the other ones are still there. So we said we need to form an association. We tried, we failed. Meanwhile, the other universities are picking up. Then around 2002, there was a Sister McCarthy who was a lecturer in Kampala University. So she decided to call all of us for the first ever Uganda Counseling Association conference. So we all went to Barara, different institutes. Remember now the number has grown, and so we end up in Barara, and then Uganda Counseling Association is born. And I had the privilege therefore of being there on the day one, becoming the board member of the founding board as the first advocate. I was doing what Adrian is doing. That was my job. And so Uganda Counseling Association gets born, and so we know now the universities are training, the professional body is in place, now the remaining hurdle is getting a regulator. Now, many people have thought Uganda Counseling Association will regulate counseling practice. It can't. You can't regulate your own colleagues. A professional body like us can advocate for space and also defend our own people when they are wrongly attacked. So, we need a regulator, and a regulator has got to be a government agency. And if you look at Uganda, that's how all the other professions are regulated. We have medicine, we have medical doctors, we have the medical association, and then we have the medical and dental council. The dental council is the government agency. Law, we have law society as an association. We have law council as a government agency. So what we've been pushing for therefore is, first of all, we needed a ministry that can host us. So which one hosts us? We tried education. Education didn't move as quickly. We tried labor. Labor didn't move as quickly. And I think Elizabeth will probably give you the briefs of how far she's gone with the Minister of Health. And I think as it looks today, you are going to be regulated by Minister of Health. And as I said, she's been on the forefront, so she knows the hurdles they've gone through and how far and what remains to be done. So once those three are done, then you can be sure the universities are going to produce the people. The association will continue advocating for space. The association will advocate for space, will defend those of you who are wrongly attacked, and do all this work like we're doing today. And then the council will license you and make sure that you operate within a framework. Remember, the framework will be developed by the Uganda Counseling Association and handed over to the council, and then the council will tell you you have gone out of line or you are in line, your license is withdrawn or it is allowed or things like that. Now, that is the bit that you still have to fight. That is the part that you still have to finish. The association is there. The training programs are there that can produce people. Now, the regulation is the one part that you still have to finish. It has already been started, and you need to finish it. Yes, there is a scheme of service that places cancers, that is intended to place cancers in health centers, but we still need another scheme of service for Ministry of Education. We still need another scheme of service for another ministry. So when that is done, then we can be sure that we are at the forefront of mental health. I hope you know that as counselors, you are the primary service providers for mental health. I hope you know that. You are the primary service providers for mental health. It's when you fail or you are not present that the people who are supposed to be helped by you end up elsewhere. And that's how they end up in Uganda. Because the issues were not dealt with at the time when there were still no more issues. So, right now as we speak, we have PhDs in Uganda Counseling Association, and we celebrate them. Wow, I'm glad to see you. So now, you can see why some of us are ready to pack our bags and go home. We are ready to pack our bags and go home. You are, let me say this, you are the right counselors for your generation. At some point, I will not be the right counselor for you. Every generation has its own challenges. Recently, I had a chat with my youngest daughter, picked her from school, and I teased her. I said, see, for you are lucky. Your dad comes to pick you from school, even though I'm late. I was late on that day. I was trying to deal with my own guilt. So I said, I was late in picking her, so I was saying, for you are lucky. If you need help, picked you late, but you know, I'm picking you, you go to school, and I said, Dad, you had problems of your generation, and I have problems of my generation. If they had put you in my generation, I don't know whether to manage. And if they had put me in your generation, I don't know whether I would manage. So I said, what do you mean? So she told me, you see, in your generation, you walked to school, you had no shoes probably. So you walked to school, you had no shoes. But you were never worried that you are going to be abducted. I said, yes, we went to school and we came back. You were never worried you were going to be knocked by a border. I said there was no border. Not even by a car. I said the cars that we saw, you would probably see a car once a month. Even when you would see it, you would have to stop and play and watch it properly. So the possibility of being knocked by a car was not there. So she told me, yes, it might have rained on you as you went to school, but your parents never got worried whether you are going to go to school and come back. I said, yes. So I said, what about your generation? She said, in my generation, I have to go through a traffic jam and get to school when I'm already tired. I can't just walk anywhere, I might not come back. And so she said, you had challenges of your generation and I have challenges of my generation. So, you are the right counselors for your generation. When we had trained as counselors, when we finished our masters, we thought we start a private counseling practice. And we did. Again, it was me, Lois Oche, Julius Mtakome, John Nzamba, who are students of 5 years. So we registered the company, we opened our doors for the first private counseling office. We used to be on Kampala Road. Those of you know where City House used to be. It's no longer there. But those of you know where Nando's used to be? Now, before you get to when you come from Kampala, there's a shared petrol station there. Now, that building which was demolished built up, there was another one before. Now, in that building which was there before, that's where we put our counseling office. And we contributed furniture. You can imagine you're opening up an office and one of you brings a chair, another brings a table, another brings this one. So we set up our office. And then we start promoting counseling services. Remember, this is before social media. This is before social media. And then we started promoting the association, so the company. So we start, I will go get part of my salary, the other gets part of his salary, go and pay rent. And we stayed with it for some time, and we said, you know what, this won't work. I had a young family, and I needed all the money for the family. I can't keep putting money into an office or rent where I'm seeing no client. The few who would get were parents bringing us their children. Here's my son, he needs counseling. But sir, why don't you use it? He's not who needs. So those were a few, and far apart. We couldn't do marketing because it was expensive. And so after a period of time, I don't know how many months we did that. It was called Profeka Psychotherapy Center, I think. I don't remember. But it was Profeka. I don't know whether it was Psychotherapy Center or Counseling Center. But we closed. And when we closed doors, Lois Ocheng and a few others, Lois had then retired from Stanbic Bank, and she said, for me, this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of life, so I'm going to start again. So we told her, you know what, find a few other people who are ready, who are like you, and start again. So Lois finds the vegetable, finds the Ruth Matoya, finds John Zamba now, who was with us. John Zamba used to work and live in Sweden, so he would be in and out. So he would come, be with us, and then he goes, so like that. So he joins the new team, and then they start now this one called Talk Counseling Services. So as we stand, the oldest existing private counseling firm is in Talk. And they have come a long way. The fact that they are still there, that they haven't closed like we did. So what does this mean for you? What does this mean for you? Today, you don't have to defend the word counseling. Well, every time we say our counselor, they will ask us, what do you do? Even the universities, when we are trying to get the programs through, they will ask us, what do you mean? One of the words I had the hardest time defending was practical. The university would ask, I say practicum, they say it's like school practice. And I would say, no. So what is it like? Is it like field work? No. And so we went through hurdles through the university, and one of the ways I succeeded with Kyambogo University especially was my ability to play, I don't know whether to play a sprint game. I would come to Kyambogo, push through, for example, we did internship for students who were out for 10 weeks. They say, why don't they go for 6 weeks, like those of school practice? And so I would defend, and then they would defeat me. So when they would defeat me, I would walk over to Uganda Counseling Association, ask whomever was the president, and I would write to Kyambogo. And I would end up drafting the letter, and then whomever was the president at the time would sign it. Now I would say, send it to Kyambogo. So they would send to Kyambogo, and then Kyambogo now would receive a letter of warning from Uganda Counseling Association. And they would say, this matter is getting serious. Okay, you can have your 10 weeks. My dean, Dr. Katiko, used to say, you man, you come here fight with us. When we defeat you, you remove your shoes, you put on different shoes, you go and then write to us. Of course, these were my colleagues. If somebody is your colleague and has written a letter, you know this is the person who wrote. So they would read through my letter and notice that this is the same guy who has written, but it was signed by maybe Lois Ocheng as president, and the main fight was around the era of Lois Ocheng. So Lois Ocheng has written as president, Uganda Counseling Association. And one of the things about Kyambogo University, we respect professional bodies. So when the matter comes from professional, so you get audience, and that's how we are able to succeed. Then we would encourage all our former students to go and do a master's. At that time, there was a master's in Makerere. So to say, go, don't wait for Kyambogo to do their master's, go to the next university. And then, of course, shortly after that, there was UCU. And then shortly after that, there was KIU and a few others. And now we're busy defending who we are. And we'll share ideas, but we never wanted the program of Kyambogo University to look exactly similar as the program of KIU. We believe there are certain standards that must be in all of the programs, but each program should be allowed to innovate. Each university should be allowed to innovate. There are basics that must be there. And those basics, we eventually start down and wrote them as Uganda Counselling Association, and we have them as accreditation guidelines. And those accreditation guidelines are copied with the National Council for Higher Education. So whichever program you are writing, it has got to meet those standards for National Council to allow it. But what we did was put the basic and then allow each university to innovate. So, as I conclude, where are you today? One, you don't have to defend yourself that I am a counselor. Two, you can earn a living out of it. Right now, there are many private counseling offices in this country. Right now, there are many private rehabilitation centers in this country. And you know that the rehabilitation centers are still too few compared to the problem that we have. The only challenge I see with all the young people that have started counseling services is not understanding counseling services as a business. You want to start a counseling service, you get another counselor, you get money for rent, you open space and wait for clients. And of course they don't show up. So either you team up with people who know how to market, people who know how to get you clients. The clients are there and they are willing to pay. These days, I get phone calls. I have my son, somebody has given me a phone number, I would like to come for counseling. Say, okay, when do you think you can see me? And then they ask me, what is your fee? The people ask me, what is your fee? Before that, if we say the fee, they would say, I'll pay you only for talking. I'll pay you only for talking. So, as I went, there is, the market is mature for you to go out and start a professional counseling service and be able to earn a living the best way you know how to. Right now, the market, the environment is ready for you to start up a center and still be able to succeed. So, that's where I am. And then, marketing for you is easy. You have social media. You have social media. Actually, I want you to do this before Adrian comes. When I give him the microphone, I want you to get on social media and each of you make a post about this. If you're on Twitter, do a Twitter handle about what you're doing right now. And if you're on Facebook, do the same. If you're on TikTok, the same. If you're on Instagram, do the same. If you're on Facebook, do the same. If you're on a WhatsApp group of people who should know, send there a message. I'll tell you that all of you here, if you do what I've told you, you give this event more coverage than if New Vision walked in here. That if New Vision walked in, that is the generation which you are living. You want to know anything? Pick your phone. You want a free assessment tool? Google it. You want a depression assessment tool? Google it. There is a free version somewhere. And even if you want to pay for it, there is a mechanism for you to pay for it. Open a chip account, get a virtual Visa card, and pay for anything online. That wasn't available to us. The only way we read a book was to go to a library. And if the book wasn't in the library, you couldn't read it. There are 1,001 online courses. So you can build yourself in any other field that you want. There are 1,001 online courses. There are free assessment tools. There are short courses. There are free books on the net. And also books that you can pay for. All the books are there. You don't need to go to the library for you to read a book on anything. That is the situation you are living. Immense opportunities for your professional growth. You can attend a workshop in another part of the country. You can attend I'm a Rotarian, and recently I was attending fellowship with a club in India. I was just online checking, and then I find they have been put a Zoom account, so I logged in and attended a fellowship. Initially, I would have to walk there. Then we walked to India. I would have to fly there. Now I can sit here and attend another fellowship with guys in India. So, thank God for COVID. Because now you know you can do things without getting there physically. And that puts you in a different sense. Because whereas they can attend a fellowship in India, it means I can also organize a similar thing. Yes. So I want you to put yourself on the other side. Much as you can attend training or a fellowship with some guys in the rest of the world, so you can also organize this. So don't go on social media to consume other people's content. Also go on social media to create content. I've seen some young people from Kyambogo University running a Twitter space on mental health. And every time I have time, I check to see what they are talking about. And for me, that is exciting. I could never think of doing that. I don't even know how to do it. I'm on Twitter, yes, but I don't know how to do a Twitter space. So those are the opportunities that you have. Build yourself professionally and take this profession to a different level. Now you have the pride. You can comfortably stand up and say, I am a counselor. The people who trained are in different spaces. We even have members of parliament that are professional counselors. Honorable Mateka being one of them. He was a former student. He still identifies himself as a professional counselor. He tells you, when I'm not in politics, I'm doing counseling. So we are in a space that's now respected. We are in a space where we are now listened to. How are you going to take advantage of that? I think I stop at that. Thank you very much.